Here's my opinion on pyro weapons. So, if you can tell already by some of my videos, I'm a pyro main. Pretty much how this whole list is gonna work is I'm gonna go over every single pyro weapon, and I'm pretty much just gonna rank them based on how I feel. Well, needs nerfed here is pretty much weapons that a bit too broken and, well, you know, needs a nerf. Well, it needs fixing is pretty much weapons that are so bad, they really need to be fixed. Like, beyond belief. And how the rules are gonna go is the only thing I'm allowing is normal gameplay. So MVM will not be in consideration because a lot of weapons would change in that case. In addition to that, I will also not be looking at medieval mode because a lot of pyros melees would have different views then. Also, random crits won't be considered because, yeah, random crits. I think that's gonna be about it. I'm just getting all the weapons out right now. Let me just. As you can see, I am very prepared for these videos. I'm definitely forgetting something. So what do I have so far? So the primaries are gonna be the first ones up on the back burner. Where's my baby? There you are. Remember, this is an opinion. Where's the panic attack? If you got a problem with my opinion, screw you, it's my opinion. And Milter, the Scorch. Where did I put the Scorch? Thermal. Oh, the gas! It's right here. Stock fire axe, pan, bam, 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 extinguisher, back scratcher, powered. Boom. I am missing the home wrecker. Oh, I guess I'll include the machete. Pretty much, if it has a stock reskin, I'll allow it. Rainblower. Is the napalm here? Where's the home wrecker? These ABC D F G E points. It's a force in nature. Home wrecker, here you are. Is that all of them? Let me just get these in like an order that makes sense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Do I have all the secondaries? I have all the primaries. Napalm isn't on this list, right? Oh. Okay, it's not on this list. Good, good, good. Okay. Let's start with the stock flamethrower. It's good, reliable. It's everything you need. I'll also put the Rainblower up here. Actually, I guess in a way it's above the stock flamethrower due to its taunt kill. That doesn't mean much, but I guess it's something. Overall, these two were, you know, good. Everything works well. Air Blast is really good. Just, it functions. You are B tier. So to get rid of Air Blast, you would need something good. 8 seconds of crits would do that. This weapon is balanced. In my opinion, it doesn't need any changes. Oomph is strong. Getting crits for 8 seconds and being invulnerable while taunting would punish anyone who thinks, oh, I'll just shove you away. This weapon? It functions. You go an A tier. Single fire, but shoots faster if you hit someone who's on fire. Its Air Blast, I don't like, the one problem with it is the air blast, because it has what was it? Hang on. Dragon's Fury. Dragon's Fury. Okay. Yeah, it has a big reduction. It's an issue, but it's not awful. Backburner, meanwhile, I think is just solid A tier. It's got an upside, it's got a downside. Crits from behind, which can be a problem sometimes because tf2 is stupid, but the air blast penalty isn't the worst. Degreaser, I've come to enjoy this weapon. I thought it sucked and I hated it when I first played Pyro, but after using it, I've come to realize this switch speed really does make a difference with it. You're good. You're really good. Yeah, you belong in S tier. Long range, good damage, close range. If someone's on fire, oh my god, they're gonna die unless they're heavy. Which is good. Detonator falls into A tier. The one issue is a certain other weapon exists. If the scorch shot wasn't like the scorch shot, the detonator would be S tier. But the detonator still has great mobility. It's good for crowd control, especially if there's no like walls or anything. It's still really good. I don't think this weapon's the worst. See, the thing is about the Man Melter is that it doesn't pair well with the Degreaser or the stock Flamethrower, but it pairs well with the others for the reason these three have an air blast issue. And well, yes, the Detonator pairs well with the Backburner, and these two pair well with the Scorch Shot, but anything pairs well with the Scorch Shot. Because of that, though, the Man Melter gets left behind. I don't think it's nearly as bad as everyone else says. I do think it needs reworks, but I do think it works. Reserve Shooter, I think, needs fixing. It's... okay. 4 shots in the clip, 25 faster switching, and mini crits on airborne players. The issue is Air Blast doesn't work with it, so, you know, the Reserve Shooter just doesn't work with Pyro. Oh, but the spread is different.
Is it the code?
Well,
who knows? New Relic knows. NewRelic.com/NewRelic knows.
Shut up. I don't want ads. Okay. This weapon doesn't work for the simple reason of it's just... how do I explain it? Without Air Blast working with it, this weapon underperforms compared to stock. As the spread is stock, but not the consistency of the panic attack, which is also faster. Speaking of which, these two I think are similar, but I think the panic attack works better in the terms of Pyro's kit, for the simple reason Pyro's going to be more often in your face. So dealing more damage with more consistency is better than dealing longer damage but with less consistency. And it's just, yeah, this weapon doesn't work. Thermal Thruster is good. It's great mobility. The big issue is definitely the deploy speed. I don't have a problem with the holster speed because, well, it's a jetpack. If you need to, like, roll and get it back and then pull out your weapon. But the deploy speed is the problem. If it was slightly faster, it would be at a definite S tier because that mobility is insane. I think the Gas Passer needs a more rework than the Reserve Shooter. I don't think this is the worst weapon in the game. But the issue is, people don't use it how you would expect it. And I definitely do think it needs a buff. Like, oh, if someone gets hit in the gas, they take like 50 damage when you ignite them. Something as simple as that would make this weapon so much better. But where it is now, it's trash. Speaking of trash, you, and you. These go to the top of S tier for this input. Stock is except for these two, stock is very bad. There's literally a direct upgrade, there's weapons that perform better, it's just stock does nothing. And that's just something every stock weapon has. But some melee options still have something. Scouts is fast and doesn't deal self-damage, doesn't have a damage penalty, nothing like that. Heavies has a taunt kill, Soldier does take splash damage and uses the gunboats and other banners. So it's just the issue with the fire axe is that pyro has flamethrowers. Speaking of fire axes, extinguisher is really good. I think this weapon is the stock shot? No, I think the stock shot is here. The extinguisher does a mini crit on hit, which I think is perfectly fine. It does be an issue with killing sometimes, but I don't think it's that big of a problem. The big benefit, though, is the speed boost. This weapon's speed boost is really good. Speaking of reworks, Volcano Fragment does nothing. You are a pyro who has a flamethrower and potentially a flare gun, and you use the Volcano Fragment, your melee, to set people on fire. This weapon needs to set anybody on fire, or you can't get, or simply the only way to put away that fire is by touching a resupply kit or something, or jumping in water. It's just, yeah. Third degree. Direct upgrade. I like the direct upgrade part. I do know it does underperform, but I like it. Homewrecker is okay. Destroying sappers in one hit? Amazing. More damage against buildings? Nah, it's an upside. It's not a downside, so... Eh. But then there's the less damage against enemies, which isn't awful. It's just this weapon is good, but you're more forced to play a pyro. I think the Neon Annihilator is underrated. I think it's at least a C tier. This weapon is a jack of all trades, and I think is the perfect representation of pyro. Because if you think of pyro, there's a lot of things you think of, but to me, pyro is a jack of all trades, and that's what the Neon is. Neon is a pyro weapon, it's an offensive weapon, it's a pyro shark weapon, it's a weapon to get people away from you, it's a combo weapon with your other classes. It does a lot, but it doesn't do enough to some people's eyes. But to me, actually no, to me it does more than enough. Next Scratcher is S tier. This does more damage, which honestly doesn't do a whole lot, but the getting more health from health kits is really good. And this thing also helps you get your medic some Uber because the slower drain. This is Pyro's best weapon. This gives just a mobility boost, and that is completely okay. I don't know if this needs a fix, because these three definitely need fixing. They're so bad in every direction you look at. This one, though, it's bad, but I don't know if a fix is what it needs more than a rework. Because these three need fixing. Actually, no, it doesn't really need fixing. It's just, yeah, no, it's not really fixing. These two need fixing. The hot hand is weird. It gives you a 1 second speed boost, which is a problem, but that 1 second speed boost does let you catch up to scouts, and it does make you fast enough to dodge Heavy's bullets. It's weird in every direction you look at. And this is sort of my tier list for my opinions on pyro weapons. But this isn't going to be the only tier list of this episode, because now things are going to change. This is now going to be an MVM tier list as well, because, well, I mean, I got one tier list in here, might as well have another. And this is going to look extremely different from that one. Just gonna move everything. Down there, here, down there, you down there, right here, there. We're gonna get rid of this tier because that's not needed for MVM. So then, let's start this off. I guess the degreaser's the first. This is the worst flamethrower, and it's not even a competition. This weapon has no upsides in MVM because switch speed doesn't matter. So you were left with 1 damage of afterburn and a slightly more expensive air blast, which are not common issues, but they're issues enough that I think it's the worst. It's average. If you need air blast, this is your weapon, but you shouldn't be using air blast that much. Dragon's Fury is good against giants and decent against tanks. The benefit against tanks is that, unlike the Flog, you don't need to do the taunt. That's about it. Its crowd control is definitely... No, actually... No, because... Okay. Its crowd control is definitely worse, but that's not awful. Flog is good. 8 seconds of crits. Crits are everything for Pyro and MVM. So having 8 seconds of crits, or potentially more if you know how to do the, what's it called again? Taunt canceling, by jumping on a robot's head and doing the taunt immediately. The Flog is destructive, and I think good in any scenario. The Backburner is also really good, but it's not as good on Rodenberg as it is on Manhattan. Manhattan? Metabe? I don't know how to pronounce it. For the simple reason of Rodenberg has tanks, while Manhattan doesn't, and is actually much easier, in my opinion, to get the backs. So, take it as you will, that's how it goes. Gas Passer, it needs a nerf. It does. Slightly, you can reduce like the damage or increase the amount of damage you need to... No, because that also affects normal gameplay. Yeah, just reduce the damage of the explosion, I guess. It's a flare gun. You shoot bots with it. You're not using the gas passer, which is the problem, but it's not awful. It's slow. And its upside of, like, you know, oh hey, you're on fire, bam, some crits. Pyros aren't the most common thing, which is the problem. It doesn't work as well as the others. That's an issue. You cause knockback, but you also have crowd control, so yeah. People consider this to be the second best. I can see why. You get mobility, you get crowd control without pushing people away, without pushing the bots away, and you can do taunt cancels with it. I think that's good. All these 3 are trash, but this is the order I put them in, because this tier list is ordered. You just are worse than you. And the panic attack is the best because you're going to be in close range, but even then, just use the Flog in the back burner. It's so much easier. Thermal Thruster, I would actually say, is the second best. It offers 3 upsides. Great mobility, stomping, and paralyzing while stomping. I know it is a slight problem, but overall I do think it's actually good. And I think it's Pyro's most underused weapon in MVM. But I can see arguments for the detonator being better, I can see that. This, you'd be better off just burning them with your flamethrower. But the speed boost isn't the worst. Speaking of speed boost, you suck. But you do give a speed boost, so I can't put you lower than these guys who are quite literally outclassed in every way, shape, and form. And you also don't cause the afterburn to stop, so Just gonna put stock melee. There's no reason to use the stock melee. Like there is actually no reason to use the stock melee because, well, there's other weapons that are better. And this does poor damage. It doesn't do much. This is literally worse because this weapon needs a buff with the afterburn buff that the flamethrowers and the flare guns get. Because for some reason it doesn't. They accounted for the flare guns, but they didn't account for the volcano fragment. Even that buff wouldn't change its status, but at least it would be more tolerable. This weapon is underrated because you have a firmed way of dealing with medics unless you go with random crits. I think the Neon's underrated. The whole destroying sappers thing isn't really important because we're assuming that your engineer is good. And with that assumption, the Neon has the other upside of dealing a lot of damage to bots that are wet. Yeah, you would be using the flamethrower, but it's something. This is somehow worse than these two, because if you have a medic, you are really screwing him over, because you need health. And medkits aren't always the most common thing, and more often than not, your medic's going to want to use it. Or the dispenser's going to be right there. You're just taking an instant health away from other people who are more likely to use it. And its upside of dealing more damage means nothing. I think the Homewrecker's overrated. In MVM, destroying a sapper in one hit, yeah, that's cool. But if your engineer is getting backstabbed and dying, and you need to use the Homewrecker over the third degree, the extinguisher, or literally anything else besides these guys, that's a problem with the engineer themselves. And the final weapon, Barrowjack, is S tier, because this weapon is just good. Gives a speed boost, and that's all it needs to do. That's why these two suck compared to it. This is my MVM part of the tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed. Give your opinions, and tell me why I suck at giving opinions. Woo! Content.